At one point in this country, homosexuals would be killed.
Is all I'm saying. It's not for me to judge them. It's not for me to judge.
Neither for me.
Yeah.
That's the reason we have to make someone the judge. The ultimate judge is God.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
And if God has sanctioned something or advocated something or prohibited something or permitted something, then it is neither for you or for me to deny that.
Well, I would agree if I'm in the situation where I'm talking to them frankly. I would say I believe God does not want you to continue
In the sin.
in this. What, as far as God is concerned, it is a sin.
Yes.
So I would counsel them against it if I had this kind of conversation with them.
Yes.
I've never actually been in their company to have this kind of conversation with them.
I mean, fair enough. I don't know about your friends, and I'm sure you know more than me
Anyway,
about how they are.
Anyway, I want to
Yes.
give you a book today.
Okay.
I picked up 5 of these today.
Right.
So this is supposed to be an autobiography, but I think it was just I think it was probably someone taking some notes and then put it together for it.
Okay.
But
So
it's-
which church would you say you go to?
Well, I like to think of myself as a free thinker, as an independent thinker.
Right.
So by taking that stance, I can speak my mind in whatever community or whatever faith believer I am communicating with,
Right.
without feeling I have to represent the official line of any one belief, so to speak, because
When you introduced me, you said you were a Christian.
I say there's truth and untruth in all religions, without exception.
No, that's fine. But Paul, when you introduced me yourself as a Christian.
I introduced myself from a Christian background.
Yes. But you're not a Christian.
Well, I believe you could say I'm quite happy to be called a Christian, but I think my knowledge of I've always been interested in the world religions, and I see what's important between the world religions is cooperation in making this world a peaceful place.
Yeah, that's the idea. I think in all the religions.
In
If you
fulfilling
ask me,
God's kingdom, yes.
yes, all the religions want peace and harmony amongst all the communities in the world.
Whether you are a Muslim or a Christian,
Yeah.
We should find ways of working together to bring about God's kingdom. So
Yeah. No, but absolutely. But you see, it is up to God. For example, if you and I go about and saying that I'm going to sit on the fence and I'm going to take sides with any religion.
anyway, you can put this in your pocket.
Yeah,
It'll fit in your top
that's fine.
pocket
Yeah, thank you very
somewhere.
much.
You can read at your leisure.
Is it still on? I don't know. Okay. So when you say, who's this gentleman here?
That is the Reverend Sun Myung Moon.
Okay. So do you accept him as your leader?
His teaching the divine principle reveals many mysteries of what happened with the central figures of the Bible. For example, it says on the mission of Jesus, it says Jesus did not come to die. It was not necessary for Jesus to die on the cross. This was not his essential mission. It wasn't a mission for him to die on the cross. He was meant to find acceptance as the Christ, as the Messiah. If he had found acceptance as the Christ, as the Messiah, the Jews would have made him literally their king and replaced Jesus for Herod if they had belief. If the central figures had belief in Jesus. One example of a central figure failing Jesus is John the Baptist. John the Baptist was meant, well, what Jesus said of John the Baptist, there's none greater born of woman than John. Why did he say that? Because he had the most important mission of bearing testimony that this is the Christ you have been waiting for. It is he, Jesus. But instead of saying that, he sent a missionary to Jesus to say, as it says in the Bible, "Are you he who is to come, or shall we look for another?" John doubted whether Jesus was really the Messiah, the Christ, or not. And because he doubted, he did not bring his followers to follow Jesus. He should have brought all of his followers to follow Jesus if he truly believed that Jesus was the Messiah. John doubted, and he came to a sticky end. And this was one of the big failings at the time of Jesus.
Right. That doesn't answer my question. Is he your spiritual leader?
He is no longer alive, but there are many mysteries of the Bible revealed in the book that is presented as his theology, for which he gained a doctorate in Korea for, and that was the divine principle.
Right.
But I now support the ministry of his son, Hyungjin,
Okay.
who is based in Pennsylvania.
So what do you call yourself as a collective? For example, we call ourselves Muslims. The Christians call themselves Christians. The Mormons call themselves Mormons. What do you call your mission, your church, or whatever your organization is?
I would say I am supporter of the. I would just say I am a supporter of the second king, Hyungjin.
Okay. Would it be wrong to call you a Muni?
It would be. He would be referred to as the King of Kings.
Okay.
The King of
Would
Kings,
it be
the
wrong
Lord
to?
of Lords.
Because people call them Munis.
Yeah.
Would it be wrong to call you that? 'Cause I don't want to impose a terminology which you don't accept.
It was originally depicted as a derogatory term.
Yeah, that's the reason I didn't want to.
But
I asked you the question for that
The-
specific reason. What would you call yourself?
Right.
Because you cannot go about saying I'm the follower of a second king of Reverend Moon.
Okay, well, a lot of people prefer themselves to be referred to as unificationists.
Unificationist.
Unificationists.
Okay.
Because, unificationists.
Okay.
And-
Do you accept
and,
that he?
and that
Yeah.
term should be applied beyond Christianity.
Yeah. You mentioned him as one of the persons who claimed to be
Yes.
the second Messiah. Sorry, the second coming of the Messiah.
Yeah.
As the Messiah.
The second coming of the
do
Lord,
you
yes.
do you believe that he was one of them?
Yes.
You think he was a Messiah of God?
I believe he has done more to fulfill the role of Messiah than anybody else who has lived on the earth.
So what was the main role of the Messiah, you reckon?
Well, one thing was to have a God-centered family, and this is referred to in the Bible in Revelation 22, in the first 6 verses, where it says, the tree of life, which is a symbol of the Christ the Messiah, the tree of life shall bear 12 manner of fruits, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. 12 manner of fruits are children. The
12 tribes?
Children.
Okay.
The Reverend Moon had 14 children to his wife Hak Jahan, who he married in 1960. 2 of those children died in infancy, so he had 6 surviving sons and 6 surviving daughters.
Okay. So you reckon that prophecy was with regards to Reverend Moon?
Yes.
Yes.
That prophecy was fulfilled in Reverend
Did
Moon.
Jesus not also say about his second coming that he'll make his enemies his footstools?
I believe he did.
What do you think about that? Does that fit Reverend Moon anywhere? Did he make his enemies his footstools?
I have no comment to make about that.
Why?
I have
Why do
I have no certain knowledge about that.
Yeah, Paul, with all due respect, it seems like you want to ignore the bits that doesn't feel Reverend Moon. For example, when Jesus said, I have many things to tell you now, but you cannot bear them. He, the Paraclete, will come.
He also said something similar about Jesus. He also said
About Jesus? Who,
yes,
he?
Yes.
Was he alive when Jesus was there?
No, but he had a teaching about Jesus, and
Okay.
he said he would say more later on, but I don't think he said very much more than what he said
But
earlier
with
on.
regards to the second coming, I mean, there's a specific mention. For example, there's a prophecy in Luke where he says that those enemies of mine who do not want to accept me or believe in me, bring them here and kill them. Are you aware of that prophecy?
I'm not aware of that prophecy.
Well, you should read up the Gospels. But the ones about killing his enemies and making his enemies his footstools, again in Revelations, is very clear. So you see, Reverend Moon doesn't fulfill these prophecies.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not seem to me that this aspect was in his nature.
Whose nature? Jesus'
Reverend
nature?
Moon's nature.
Yeah, so it doesn't fulfill that prophecy. So who you think? Do you think there'll be some other Messiah to come in the future who might be fulfilling that prophecy?
No, as I say, I believe in the kingship theology, whereas as Reverend Moon wills, his youngest son is the inheritor and representative of his teaching, and as will be his.
But this is what why do you think that is accurate? Because that's not anywhere mentioned in the Bible.
No, it's not.
So why would you believe something unless you have got some other book, some other revelation? And is
Well-
this what you're referring to as Reverend Moon's writings?
Well, what I would say about Muhammad and Reverend Moon
Yeah.
is that not everything that they teach is spot on, let's say. I would say that sometimes they get some things wrong. Even the prophets of God sometimes get some things wrong.
What did Muhammad get wrong?
Well, I'm not happy with all the treatments of women, and also the female captives through warfare, the treatment that they get from the captors who will have sex with them even though that their husbands are still alive, or maybe have been killed.
How is that different to
well-
what was sanctioned by God to Moses? Unless you completely ignore what's written in the Old Testament. Because Moses was given the same specific sanction. For example, when he destroyed the Midianites and killed everyone, the
Yeah.
male, the female, the children, and
Yeah.
only saved the virgin girls.
Yes,
So they
yes.
even killed the little baby boys. It's only the
Yes.
virgin girls, and they used them as sex slaves.
Yes.
And this was a sanction given by God to Moses, and he basically carried out this command of God. Would you then reject that sanction as being immoral based on your standards?
I'm not going to try and second guess God.
No, this is in the Bible. It's in Numbers
Yeah,
31.
Yes, yes, I know it is. But
What is your opinion about that?
it's not something which I would want to make any pronouncement upon, because I have no authority to do so.
No, it's not about you to pronounce. Look, if it's the thing is, do you accept this in the Bible?
Yes.
Do you accept this was a sanction of God?
I don't know.
Unless you're telling me that was not part of the Bible.
I'm
And the
not
Bible and the Bible has been corrupted.
Well, the Bible has been corrupted, as you well know. There are parts added to the Bible at a later stage, as you well know. The Catholic Church dictated that references to the ascension of Jesus were put into the Bible too. Erasmus the scholar pointed this out, that these verses in the Bible were put in 200 years later by the Catholic Church to validate their theology.
That's the New Testament you talk about.
Yes.
I'm talking about the Old Testament.
Well,
The Torah that the Jewish people believe in.
I'm not an authority on the Old Testament.
You don't need to be an authority.
Well-
Do you accept the Torah that the Jewish people hold on to as being a revelation from God?
I would not like to be too dogmatic by making too much comment on that at all.
Fair enough. So, to put it mildly, you do not accept the current Bible as it is, as the infallible Word of God.
Of course, because there are verses that have been added that, well, I'm aware of some verses that have been added which I have no reason to believe are anything to do with what really happened.
So, what makes you a believer in Reverend Moon and his son then? What is it that convinces you
Okay.
from their
Well,
teaching
okay,
to be a believer?
right. Well, when I was 18, I had a dream
Okay.
that I would meet someone on the street, specifically Queen Street, Cardiff, who would answer all my questions on the New Testament.
In Cardiff.
So
Wow.
the next day I went into Cardiff
Right.
after I had had my dream,
Okay.
and I did meet someone from the Unification Church.
Right.
And I went back to their centre in Grangetown and I listened to their teaching of the divine principle.
Yeah.
So I had a dream, I met someone, and I heard the teaching.
And that's it? So if you would have met a
And
Muslim,
I liked the teaching. Everything that I heard at that time, I liked it. And when the leader of the group was in Cardiff and said, "Paul, would you like to join?" I said, "Yes." okay, pack your bags, move in tomorrow. And I did for several years.
Yes, but you still haven't told me what convinced you other than this coincident, I would say coincident with your dream and with your...
Well, the passage that I referred to...
Because if you met a Muslim that day, then
Right.
you would have been a Muslim now. You see what I mean?
Quite possibly. Quite
Exactly.
possibly, quite
So
possibly.
it's more of an anecdotal experience,
But,
which only you can
Yes.
testify to. You see what I mean?
Well, I'd read the book of Revelation several times, and there were particular verses which had stuck in my head because I was mulling over what they mean for a while and coming to my conclusions. So when the Irishman said to me, Sun Myung Moon is the Messiah, my question was, how many children does he have? When he said 11, I said, will he have 12? And he said, how do you know that? How do you know that? In his Irish accent. And I said, well, Book of Revelation 22, verse 1 to 6, the tree of life shall bear 12 manner of fruits, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. Okay. So, that was the little biblical hook, which
Again, a coincidence.
which
So-
made me think, well, this could be, which made me think this could be true. This could be true.
Because you see, when you look at, if you read the book of Revelations, then surely you would have come across how God would treat his enemies, how Jesus would treat his enemies, and how the Messiah would treat his enemies. So it looks like you have somehow
Well,
only looked at pieces which kind of fall into Reverend Moon's case, but
Yeah.
ignored the bits that do not fall in this case. Don't you think that's a bit of a cherry picking there?
it might well be, but there were.
Do you think that is a sincere way of going about reading the Bible?
All I can say is there were some verses which were stuck at that time, stuck in my head, which I could quote.
No, but which is what I'm saying. You were looking.
I
The
don't
reason these verses stuck in your head is because somehow it coincided with Reverend Moon's lifestyle or his children or whatever it is. But those bits which completely do not coincide with his lifestyle and with his future, with his children or wife or whatever, you seem to just completely ignore that. Like you don't want to comment on that. Why do I see this cherry picking? Because if I see a sincere person, if a sincere person will open the book, look at the Bible and he'll say, no, this doesn't fit him, so it cannot be him. But you somehow have only done, oh, this fits him, so I will ignore everything else, and I think he's the Messiah.
What I'm saying is I'm only a lay. I'm only a lay person when it comes to knowledge of the Bible, for example. So.
Well, I'm
So all I'm saying.
no expert in the Bible
is,
either.
Is if I'm saying,
Yeah.
if I'm aware of a difficulty in perception or interpretation of something, which I don't have any certain authoritative knowledge about, I prefer to make no comment because whatever I say.
No, but you have read it many times. You said you read the book of Revelations many times.
I've read
So
those.
you must have come across these verses where the people who do not believe will be put in the lake of fire, for example, where they'll make the footstools,
right.
where
Well,
all those things.
No, the lake of fire, I do believe is a metaphorical term rather than a literal term.
It's a metaphor for what?
Whatever. Well, hell is a state of mind essentially.
Why cannot be?
You'll be in torment. The torment is within your own mind. It is not a torment of a fire.
So let me ask you this: you do not believe? I don't know. Earlier, it seems like you do not believe in life after death, or do you believe?
I believe in life.
So
after
you believe
death,
in life after death, but you
Yes.
do not believe that you'll come back as some sort of a spiritual body. You reckon they'll just be spirits somewhere?
No. We will have one. We have one physical life on the earth, and
Yes.
that is it.
Okay.
And then we will live as a spirit body.
Yeah. Where will you live? This?
Who knows? Who knows? I don't think about it.
Okay, but don't you think that
Jesus
Reverend
said-
Moon, if Reverend Moon was a spiritual person and he lives somewhere spiritually,
Yeah.
has he communicated to someone, with someone?
Well, he probably has, but I don't. I have no certain knowledge of it.
Did he say he was going to communicate after death?
Not to my. Well, he may have done, but I don't know if he did or not.
Has anyone communicated after death, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, so because that knowledge of yours with regards to you'll be living as a spirit, where does it come from, if not the Bible? Because the Reverend Moon didn't tell you, the Bible didn't tell you. Where did it come from?
It's a traditional Christian belief.
No, it's not.
What do
The Christians actually believe in the lake of fire. The Christians actually believe this.
Some do, yes.
No, I'm talking about the mainstream Christianity.
Yeah, well,
they do believe this.
they
So
might do,
the
they
Catholics and the Protestants, they believe this.
They might.
They believe in purgatory. They believe in this intermediate realm where they're going to spend some time.
Ah, yes, that was a good money-spinning venture on the Catholic Church.
Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. These are the mainstream Christians.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they don't believe in it. They do believe in it.
Well, they certainly used to believe it because the Catholic Church made a lot of money
Yeah.
out of it.
So the question to you is, where do you get your knowledge from? Because they say they get it from the Bible. Where do you get yours from? You said the Reverend Moon didn't say it. You're saying it's not in the Bible.
Well,
so where do you get it from?
One of the 8 books which Reverend Moon said all members should read,
Yeah.
one of the most popular books is called World Scripture.
Okay.
I've got it on email. It's
Right.
it's more than 1,000 words long, pages long.
Does it say it?
If you would like me to email you a copy, I'm very happy to do so.
No, but have you read it?
I've read bits of it. I haven't read it. I haven't read it all.
So the question still remains. Where
I'm saying
you reckon down says in that book?
I'm saying this is one of the 8 books that the Reverend Moon said all members should read these, and it's one of the best ones according to the membership that I'm friends with. And I'm just saying you can refer to it at your leisure. There are chapter headings, etc. So different topics, so you can refer to what this book says on a range of topics.
No, but Paul,
so you'll have something to reference. These.
That's well and good.
So I would say although I haven't read it all, the bits that I have read, I would agree with.
No, but it's not what you have read and what you have not read. It's your belief.
Yeah.
If you believe that after your death you're going to remain as a spirit wherever it is, where did you get this
I'm
information
just
from?
saying there's a large section in this book about this topic.
Have you read that?
I've read bits of it. I haven't read it
Okay.
all.
So from the bits that you have read, does it actually refer to life after death?
Yes,
And it says that you'll be living as a spirit.
spirit body.
Okay. So this is not from the Bible. This is not from anything, but it's from the book written by.
Well, it will use reference. It will also use biblical references, and it will also use Quranic references as well.
Well, the Quran doesn't say that you'll be living just as a spirit.
Well, anyway,
And neither does the Bible. So
Well,
I'm assuming it's something that Reverend Moon came up with. If he has written the book that you're saying, one of the 8 books.
well, I'm not saying he wrote this book, but he would have commissioned a team of professors to work on this book,
Right.
and he would have had it checked over by someone he trusts to refer him to various passages.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Anyway, Paul, very nice speaking to you. I'll have a look at this
Could I
book.
have your email so I could forward you an email?
Yeah,
on
sure.
this?
Yeah.
'Cause I recognize you as one of the very best
Not.
Muslim speakers here.
I'm a student of knowledge myself, so I'm
Yes.
learning
Yes.
as I go along.
No, but
Yeah, we finished now. That's fine.
I know. I've heard
Yeah.
various.
You might want to unhook this.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Don't want you to trip over the mics.
Find my diary.
Yeah, that's fine. Welcome. How are you doing, right? So my email is
Wait. Let me find my.